Welcome to Muslim Apologetics Australia. So you would have seen in the news on Al Jazeera, on a lot of the mainstream media, Jerusalem Post, you can see that a nun in Israel was attacked by a Zionist Jew. This nun was attacked, right? And I'm going to show you the double standards in the narrative in this. So when this nun, French nun, was attacked, a Jewish man makes a Zionist, he makes a response to this. Let's hear his response, and then after you hear his response, I'm going to show you where the double standard is. Let's listen.
How all Israelis are going after Christians, that Christians have no place in Israel. In the last couple of days, the internet has been blowing up, showing this clip of a Jewish thug hunting down, chasing down, and assaulting a nun, knocking her down, her head hitting the stone, and then he runs away and then comes back to go kick her again. And that's where the clip ends. And that's where the story is framed. And the story is being framed by Al Jazeera and other pundits, whoever it is, that are anti-Israel, showing very clearly that this is how Jews treat Christians in Israel. Is that the real story? No, that is not the real story, because what they don't do is show the rest of the clip, and I'm going to show you right now. So as the assailant, thug, runs away, he comes back, and he starts kicking the nun again. And then what happens? Bystanders, Jews who just happen to be there, come to the nun's rescue, her defense. And not only do they defend her, but they become the target of this thug's assault. And that's what they're not showing you. And then they're also not showing you that only hours later, when the assailant was identified, the police go and arrest him, and he's still sitting in jail now. Because they're not showing that Jews are coming to the defense of nuns, or they're not showing the police are actually arresting these thugs, because it doesn't fit their narrative that this is a systemic issue, that this is somehow an Israeli thing, how all Israelis are going after Christians, that Christians have no place in Israel. That's how they're weaponizing the media. So whenever you see a clip, as disgusting as it is, and it's coming from Al Jazeera, it's coming from Tucker Carlson, whoever, you should know that there's probably a 99.99% chance that they're not telling the whole story.
Okay, so let's expose the double standard. There's been a video circulating showing a French Christian nun being pushed to the ground, her head hitting a wall. The clip shared by outlets like Al Jazeera ends right at the moment of the attack. We agree. Naturally, people reacted strongly to what they saw. And any violence against a religious figure is serious and unacceptable. But the debate online didn't stop at the incident itself. It shifted to something else, how the story is being framed and what parts of the situation are being left out. Critics of the framing argue that the full context is being ignored. They claim that in the broader incident, other individuals intervened to help the woman, and that Israeli authorities reportedly responded to the attack. Their concern is not about excusing violence, but about selective storytelling. Because when only one part of the video is shown, it can completely shape how millions of people interpret an entire community. And this is where the inconsistency becomes obvious, because if the same logic is applied globally, the standards are never equal. Let's take a simple hypothetical. Imagine this exact situation happened in a Muslim majority country. A Christian nun is attacked by an extremist, but immediately after, other Muslims step in to stop the attacker, and authorities arrest him. Do you think the global media narrative would be, look at the individuals who helped? This shows balance and context. Or would the framing become, Muslim country where Christians are unsafe, religious intolerance, systemic hostility. History suggests we already know the answer because we've seen this pattern before. In the Mumbai 2008 attacks, for example, civilian and staff, including Muslim hotel workers, risked their lives to save guests trapped inside the Taj Hotel. There were documented cases of employees guiding people to safety and trying to protect strangers during the chaos. Yet the broader global narrative was not, look at Muslims who helped. This shows balance. It was framed as an attack that reflected on extremism within a wider context of religion and region. We saw similar dynamics in other tragedies as well. During major terror attacks in Western cities, individuals from Muslim backgrounds have stepped in to help victims, sometimes at great personal risk. In the Christchurch mosque attacks in New Zealand, for instance, members of the Muslim community like Naeem Rashid were not only victims but also acted heroically to protect others. Yet even in moments like that, those acts rarely shift the broader narratives attached to the entire communities. We also saw the heroic attacks at Bondi attacks, where a Muslim called Ahmed al-Ahmed disarmed the two terrorists shooting at civilians. But the broader community didn't say, well, the Islamic religion is a peaceful religion because of Ahmed. They still used the two terrorists to tarnish the rest of the religion and say most Muslims are like this. Instead, the pattern tends to stay the same. Violence is generalized, but compassion is individualized. And that's the inconsistency people are pointing to. Because when an incident involves Muslims in any capacity, even when Muslims are the ones helping victims, the broader narrative often expands to questions about culture, religion, and collective responsibility. But when the roles are reversed, or when Muslims are the victims, the framing often becomes highly specific, isolated, and carefully contextualized. This is why the issue here is not just about one video, it's about how stories are constructed. Because if context matters, it should matter everywhere. If individual acts of violence do not define entire communities in one case, then individual acts of protection should also be acknowledged in the same way in another. Otherwise, what you end up with is not journalism, but selective storytelling that reinforces whatever narrative already exists. And in a world already full of tension between communities, that kind of inconsistency doesn't help understanding. It just deepens the vision. So the bottom line is this, folks. When it comes to these Zionist Israelis, they always want to look at the full context of everything. Oh, other people came to a rescue. Why don't we highlight that in the media? Why don't we show that Christians are always welcomed here? And it's just one lone wolf doing this attack. But they wouldn't use the same lens if the same incident happened in a Muslim country. If an individual started attacking a Christian nun, they wouldn't say this is a lone wolf, this is one individual. They'll say this is just part of their culture, this is who they are. Right? So this is where the hypocrisy and the double standard is.